Halfway, so three things. The difference between the two products that share a name, which confuses almost everybody and comes down to a single question. Then the thing I do every day by hand, turned into one command that runs 392 checks, and which found something I'd never have seen. And then an honest look at what 15 days of this actually changed, where the honest answer surprised me. First, the one that costs people the most time, because they reach for the wrong tool and then blame the tool. Claude is an assistant. You talk to it, you paste things in or attach them, and what comes back is an answer. Then you go and do the thing. Claude Code is an agent that works inside a project. It opens your files, edits them, runs commands, and what comes back isn't a message. It's a directory that's different from how you left it. Here's the difference made concrete. Everything you've watched for 15 days came out of 120 files and about 19,000 lines. The renderer, the voice pipeline, the verifiers, the scripts, the documentation. None of that is an answer to a question. All of it is files, and files are the thing the second one produces. So that's the question to ask before you pick. Is what I want out of this a message or a change? If you want to understand a contract, compare two options, or get a draft you'll edit yourself, that's the assistant, and reaching for the agent just adds ceremony. If you want a file to be different afterwards, a script to exist, a whole repo to get refactored while you go and make tea, that's the other one. And pasting code into a chat box and copying it back is you doing the agent's job by hand. And it runs in a terminal, in a desktop app, in your editor, or in the browser, so the venue isn't the distinction. The output is. Second, the boring one, which turned out to be the most useful thing I've built in a fortnight. So I made it one command. 56 videos, 392 checks, in about the time it takes to make a coffee. And it's not a checklist that reminds me to look, it actually measures. It reads the loudness out of the audio and the contrast out of the thumbnail. And then the result, which I did not expect. Every single failure is in a rule I invented later. Lengths from day 4, search titles, and subtitles from day 12, none of them backfilled. The 4 things I'd been checking by hand every day for a fortnight failed 0 times out of 224. I had been personally inspecting the only part that never broke. So 2 things I take from this. First, the thing worth automating wasn't the work. It was the checking, because the checking is what I was doing badly. I was doing it from memory, on the newest 4 videos, and never once on the 50 behind them. And second, it found something on its first run that I'd have never found by eye. One video had its file and its thumbnail named under one rule, and its description and subtitles named under another. Nothing was missing, nothing was broken, and nothing lined up, which is exactly the kind of thing a person scrolling a folder does not see and a script notices immediately. And third, an honest look at halfway, including the part 1 got wrong about my own project. 89 failures out of 392 checks, and every single one of them is a standard I changed later and never went back to apply. Video lengths, from day 4. Search titles and subtitle files, from day 12. Not one failure is a thing that broke. The pipeline has not regressed once. I just kept raising the bar and leaving the old work under it. Which fits the pattern of the whole fortnight, honestly. Every genuinely useful thing here came with a cheap check attached, and every near miss came from a check I hadn't written yet. Day 10, I made a date field required and got 3 confidently wrong dates out of 8. Day 13, 4 definitions of hardest gave 4 different chapters. Yesterday, a style card caught my own sentences getting longer for a week without me noticing. So here's the honest answer to what changed in 15 days, and it isn't speed. If anything, I'm slower, because everything now has a verifier bolted to it that can stop the build. What changed is that I stopped having opinions about output and started measuring it. Does this quote appear on the page it cites? Is every number in this brief in the source? Did the style card survive days it never saw? All of those replaced a conversation I would otherwise have had with myself and probably got wrong. That's the thing I'd hand you at the halfway point. Not a prompt, not a trick. Find the version of your question that a script can answer, and then let it answer badly in public when it wants to. So here's the rule I'd give you for what to automate first, and it isn't the thing that takes longest. Automate the check, not the work. For signs you've found the right one. You do it every single time, so the cost is real. You do it from memory, which means you sometimes skip a step and never know which. You only ever do it to the newest thing. I checked 4 videos a day and never once checked the 50 behind them, which is exactly where all the problems were. And getting it wrong is silent, so nothing ever tells you off. The work itself usually resists automation because it needs judgment. The checking almost never needs judgment, and that's why you've been doing it by hand for a fortnight without noticing how strange that is. 3 things worth keeping from halfway. Pick the product by whether you want a message or a change file. Automate the checking rather than the work, and point it at everything, not just today's. And measure the thing you'd otherwise have an opinion about, because the opinion is where the mistakes live. And the thing I keep coming back to, which I only saw because the audit put it in a column. 89 failures in the library, and not one of them is something that broke. Every single one is me raising the standard and not going back. That is a very different report from the one I assumed I'd be reading. And I'd have gone on assuming it forever, because a folder of finished videos looks finished. 15 days in, that's the actual change. Not that any of this got faster, it didn't. It's that the things I used to have opinions about now have numbers attached, and the numbers are allowed to disagree with me in public, which they have, roughly once a week, and every time it was the most useful thing that happened that day. That's day 15, and the halfway mark. 3 shorts every day and a full cut like this each evening. Subscribe if it's useful to you.